Welcome to the American Citizens Abroad podcast. Today we are chatting with Nicole from the ILove2GlobeTrot site and blog. Welcome, Nicole. Thanks for chatting with us today.
Thank you for having me, Michelle. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm pretty good, thanks.
Could you speak about your journey as an expat? What brought you to Oman?
Actually, I've been abroad now for unbelievably about 15 years. I don't even know how that happened. But initially, when I left the state, I went to South Korea first. I was there for about 3.5 years teaching in the school system there. And then after a bit of time in Southeast Asia, I was like, I'm interested in a new experience. Started looking into the Middle East. And initially, of course, like I was looking at Dubai, UAE in particular, but a job opening popped up for me in Oman and I applied and it just worked out. And here we are over a decade later, and I'm still here teaching at a university. So it's been good. It's been good.
Looking back, what are your biggest assumptions about living abroad that turned out to be wrong or challenged you?
Deciding to go to a new country, like, of course, I was expecting a big culture shock, but to my surprise, I think I'm a very go with the flow, laid back type of person. So it wasn't as big of a challenge moving into a new country and immersing myself in a new culture as much as I was expecting it to be. Like, of course, it was like, wow, okay. They pray 5 times a day over here in the Middle East and different things that took some getting used to, but I just really enjoyed the beauty of it all. So, really, it wasn't as shocking, I should say, air quotes, as one would expect.
How have your roots in the US influenced or stayed present in your identity while you've been abroad? And has living abroad reshaped how you see your US background?
I tell people all the time, I'm a world traveler. I've been to over 50 countries and been living abroad now for over a decade. And you can take the girl out of the city of Detroit, but you can't take the Detroit out the girl. Like, a Detroit, Michigan will always be like in my heart. And I'm a Midwest girl at heart. And I think maybe that's probably part of the reason why I am such a with the flow type of person, just because I've had different experiences living in Michigan. And I like to tell people, if I can make it in Detroit or the south side of Chicago where I used to live before moving abroad, I can make it anywhere. So I think I have that big city mentality, even though right now living in Oman, in particular in Israel, I'm living in a smaller city. Just those roots, just like that street smarts and hustle and bustle attitude that I have from my time being an American, obviously living in the States, it goes with me. Yeah.
Let's talk about your site. I love to globetrot. Could you explain to our audience what your site is all about? And could you walk us through how you grew the site and the community?
I love the Glow Trot. Actually, it was the brainchild of myself and my friend Renee Evans. She now currently lives in Australia, but we met in South Korea. So when we started the travel blog and site and community, she was getting ready to leave Korea to go to Australia, and I was getting ready to leave Korea to come to Oman. We had this idea to have an all-inclusive travel community documenting our experiences as Black women traveling the world together, and even separately, some of our solo trips and being expats. So that was really the idea of I Love the Globetrot, documenting our experiences. We have an online travel community on Facebook, over 10,000 members, and just over time, other expats, people we met in our travels. I have people that are in the community that I've known since my days in South Korea over a decade ago, who now we meet up in other countries and other cities and having this community of expats and obviously friends from back home in the States and really all over the world from our travels that we met. That's really how we managed to grow the community, just keeping that camaraderie, sharing about our travel experiences and encouraging others to share about their experiences, posting job opportunities abroad, try to keep it all inclusive there.
When you began I love to globetrot, what were some
Mhm.
of your early mistakes or things you wish you knew?
Me and Renee, we were quite ambitious at one point. We actually were trying to build an app, the I Love the Little Trot community app, and we lost thousands of dollars, dealing with an app developer. It never came to fruition. We just ended up in the end decided we needed to keep it simple, stick with the blog, stick with our travel community and that particular community because trying to migrate off of the main social media platforms didn't work out. So honestly, having a niche is very important when it comes to travel communities. That's one of the things, just like focusing on being independent Black woman traveling the world. People are interested in our story. So things that go viral, you'd be surprised. Yeah.
And looking ahead, what are your goals for your own brand, the community, and your life abroad in the next 5 to 10 years?
That is the $1 million question. I literally just having a conversation about a 5-year plan with a friend the other day, and I was just like, I never had planned on, quote unquote, being in the Middle East for a decade, but it's happened just because it's been a great life. In 5 to 10 years, I will be getting closer to my retiring abroad goals. One of my goals is to be able to move to Portugal once I leave the Middle East and start a hostel, a brand. Right now, I'm just at the point of continuing to build out of the Globetrot. I'm a certified travel advisor as well. I've been building up my clientele with my travel sites, with the blogging and influencer content, and even travel writing, freelancing. So I wear many hats. Maybe I need to focus on one thing, but at the end of the day, I think it's important to have several revenue streams, especially as an expat, because you just never know what's going to happen with the future.
For Americans living abroad who feel disconnected or in between worlds, do you have any advice for how they can create or find community and how they can maintain engagement with both their host country locals and fellow expats?
I've been here in Oman for over a decade, and we have the Brothers and Sisters of Oman community made up of African Americans living in Oman. Obviously, I have that kindred connection with my brothers and sisters who are here but are also Americans. It's also important to get out there into the community and try to immerse yourself and make friends with locals. I feel I've done a pretty good job of doing both. Like I have a few of my Omani friends that I'm invited to their house for holidays and things of that nature, but then also have my expat community. That's the beauty of social media is to be able to stay connected with people around the world. Like other social networking sites, I know when I first came to Oman, I was really active in Internations, which was a online community, an app as well, where you can network and meet with other expats. Yeah, there's so many avenues, especially with social media, to stay connected.
And on your site, you've spoken about the emotional labor of being an expat, managing home ties, building a new home, dealing with belonging. What are some of the less glamorized aspects of expat life?
Oh yes, it's definitely not all sunshine and rainbows being an expat. I was here stuck in Oman during the summer of 2020 during the COVID-19 pandemic and lost friends and family to the virus and wasn't able to travel. And I was literally stuck. I say I was stuck, but my thing was if I had left the country to go back to the States, I would not have been able to get back in that year because they literally closed their borders trying to protect it. Things like that, you don't think about like, oh, I could possibly be stuck in my host country during a pandemic. Just something you don't necessarily plan for, but life happens. Definitely just some of the challenges of being so far away from friends and family when emergencies do happen. You have to consider that it's not necessarily easy to hop on a 15-hour flight back to the States from across the globe. So you have to be mentally strong, mentally prepared for life, things that can happen in that case.
As a Black woman living abroad, you've touched on unique travel and expat experiences. What have you learned about culture, identity, and belonging?
For me, having thick skin, like some of the experiences I had in South Korea versus in Oman, and being flexible because living in the Middle East is a very inshallah atmosphere. What will be, will be. And I've learned to go with the flow here. I feel like a lot of people back home in the States can be a bit uptight when it comes to how things operate. And when you're in someone else's country, you have to, one, respect their culture and their rules. That's something that I haven't had a problem with living in the Middle East and even in my time in South Korea. I'm very grateful that I have been in two countries that there were incidents in South Korea versus here in Oman as a Black woman. Overall, Omanis are very like, oh, hello, sister. They're very welcoming. So I've been very grateful to be in such a beautiful culture. I think that's probably why I stayed for 10 years. So yeah.
You've mentioned that you have visited a vast number of countries and have lived on multiple continents. What are some of your most transformative travel moments, especially anything that helped you to understand yourself or look at the world differently?
I really have to dig deep on that one because I've had so many incredible experiences. And I feel like one of my favorite countries to travel to is South Africa. I've been about 3 times, and I'm usually not a repeat traveler. But I actually, years ago, when I went to grad school in Germany for a year, and then I did an internship in Cape Town for 3 months, and then I returned back since then. My experience, my time living in Cape Town, just really felt at home there, which was quite interesting, all things considered. I know that It's probably surprising because South Africa is not necessarily one of the safest countries, but I felt safe there. Maybe it was just that big city mentality of being from Detroit and living in Chicago. I was just like, oh, this feels like home to me. Sometimes I do think if Portugal doesn't work out, Cape Town, South Africa, it's a possibility. There's a few places that are on my list. And then another one will probably be Ghana. When I went to Ghana in 2019, that was the year of return. And ironically enough, when I first was planning the trip, it wasn't because of that was the year of return, the 400-year anniversary of slavery, but that was the year I went. That was a very transformative experience, touching down again on the motherland and another feeling of being at home. Having some of these experiences traveling to Africa because living in the Middle East and it's so easy to get to is right there. So those memories will stick with me definitely for life.
How do you think expats can make the most of being between cultures to develop personal growth, cultural intelligence, and cross-border perspectives that others might miss?
One of the things I like to tell people as someone who has traveled to so many countries and been living abroad for over a decade is, of course, I'm an American citizen. I will always be an American citizen. But overall, I like to call myself a global citizen. I'm just a citizen of the world. At the end of the day, the world is not as scary of a place as people like to make it out to be. And I feel like I definitely have more bravado. Maybe I'm not as fearful as I probably used to be of the world before immersing myself in it and traveling and seeing the world. At the end of the day, people are really inherently good. I feel like you have a global education. You just become so much more adept to moving about the world when you have the opportunity to actually see people from other cultures and put yourself in their shoes and immerse yourself into their culture.
Do you have any destinations on your next list that most people wouldn't guess?
One of my goals has been to see more of Africa, being in this region. So like Rwanda is high on my list. I've heard a lot of good things about Rwanda from friends who have been there and friends who have even lived there. And Mauritius is another one. In Mozambique. If you haven't noticed, yeah, Africa is definitely high on my list. I just posted on social media. So I'm planning my birthday trip for next summer. I'm thinking about Uzbekistan. People are like, yep, that sounds about right for the go. That's been on my list now for a few years. I really want to try to make it happen possibly next year. Yeah, people probably wouldn't think that I'm trying to go to the stands, but I am.
If you could go back in time to visit yourself on your first month abroad, what's one bit of advice you would give your younger self?
1 month, so I would have still been fresh off the boat in South Korea. So let's see. What advice would I give young Nicole in South Korea? That you can do it, that you will be okay and not to freak out within those first few months and not to have fear of what the future will hold because you'll be okay. You'll have amazing experiences traveling the world and growing a travel brand and that you never even dreamt of. You'll live some incredible experience. To keep going and don't be fearful of the world.
Okay, last question. Any final thoughts you'd like to share?
To piggyback off of the advice that I would give a young Nicole, that says the same advice that I would give the listeners. The world really is a beautiful place. The world really is our school. We have to treat it like these are educational experiences. You're going to be able to grow and become so much more independent if you get out there and see the world and experience it. Home will always be there. Just get out there and experience it.
Thank you so much for taking the time to chat today.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad that we were able to do it.
The content of ACA podcasts, including documents and presentations, is made available only for general information purposes. It is not intended and should not be treated as legal, financial, or tax advice. The views and opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect the views of American Citizens Abroad, Inc. or any affiliated organization. ACA does not warrant the accuracy, completeness, or usefulness of any content or other information. ACA disclaims all liability and responsibility arising from any reliance placed on any content or information by you or any other person. ACA is nonpartisan and does not support any political party or candidate.